Hi and welcome back to another video presented by me, Yolandi, for Expense Accounting. I'm sorry that I'm only uploading this video today. My kids have been sick and at home and they're so noisy, so I couldn't do another video. So I apologize for that if you were waiting on this video. I have thought about what I'm going to show you today, and I think this will be the last video for the not-for-profit organization. I mentioned a few times about the billable expenses, and I thought that maybe I should cover it in today's video. I've also thought about the types of accounts that's included when you set up your account with the not-for-profit organization. There's a set of chart of accounts that is automatically assigned to your organization, and I thought that maybe I should just go over that as well. So if you want to look at the list of accounts you have, you just click on the accounting from the menu on the left. If it's the first time you click into it, you will see a different screen, but you can just click the green button in the middle that says chart of accounts, or I can't remember what it says, but there's a button there. You just click on it and then it will take you to the chart of accounts. And this is the list of all the accounts that you have available to you to allocate transactions to. As you can see, there is cash and cash equivalents for your bank account, and depending on your organization, you may have more than one bank account. Then there's account receivables and all different types of assets. If you haven't added any accounts to it, you will notice that you only have motor vehicles and fixed assets at cost. I would recommend that if you have depreciable assets, fixed assets, that you do create accumulated depreciation accounts for them, and just only include the cost in the cost account and then add the depreciation into the accumulated depreciation account. I will show you how to create a new account in just a second. There's just another few things I wanted to show you. So as far as income goes, you will have by default, I had this one, billable expenses. I also had sales of product income, and uncategorized income. I've created the fundraising income and the grant funding income for this organization. And I think if you are doing fundraising events and or you have grants that you receive, that these two accounts may be a good idea to create in your accounts. It's just nice to have a split to see what income comes from grant funding and how much you made for fundraising during the year. So that's why I would suggest to create these accounts. So to create a new account, you go to the right hand side, it says new, you click on that, and here the account type, you choose the type of account that you are going to create. So if you are going to create a new bank account, you just click on the cash and cash equivalents, and then you can set up, you can choose from here what type of account, and then you can rename it and so forth. I'm going to show, so if you want to create a new income account, you click on income, and then also again a detailed type which you want to allocate to that type. And you can say not-for-profit income, and just here it would by default create the not-for-profit income name. You can change that and put anything in there that you'd like. Say, for example, we are saying fundraising, ticket sales. You can add additional description here, and you can click is a sub-account. So I already have a fundraising account, which is, you can just scroll down and select the account. So what this will do, if you have your main account, which is fundraising, you can create sub-accounts under the fundraising income that splits that even further. So if you had a ticket sale fundraising event, you can create that. If you had, I don't know, raffles or whatever, you can put it in there and you can create it. I'm going to create this one now, and we can just say save and close. As you'll see, there is the fundraising income, and underneath that is the fundraising ticket sales. So you can create a few of those if you have different types of fundraising events during the year, and then you can see how much you made for that specific fundraising event if you'd like to have a better idea of the income. As far as the accumulated depreciation account, it's also basically just the same. You just click there, new. We click, it's a fixed asset register account, and then there's different types here. You can create new land, buildings, furniture and fittings, machinery. But for this video, I'm going to show you the accumulated depreciation. So this is the one you select when you create an accumulated depreciation one. And then suggesting, so I had created a motor vehicle accumulated depreciation account. I would suggest that you name it the same and just add accumulated depreciation to create that account. I'm not going to create a new one. I just wanted to show you that. So that as far as the chart of accounts goes, you can add extra expenses, you can add extra current liability accounts. It all depends on your organization. The reason I started this one is I created the grant income because I wanted to show you the billable expense side of things. You can use the billable expense income account to allocate the billable expense transactions. But if you are using grant funding and you are using the billable expense for the grant funding side of things, then I would suggest you create a grant funding income account and then we set up the billable expense. So now we can go to settings, the gear icon, and under your company, the account and settings. So chart of accounts, we are going to edit that. Click on the edit button and we can enable account numbers. I prefer using account numbers, but if you don't like it, you can leave it off. It's just a matter of preference. Then the billable expense income account, I've already set it up as the grant funding income. By default, it was a billable expense account. So just change it to grant funding if that's how you're going to use it. If you're not going to use it in that matter, it's fine. You can leave it as the billable expense income and just click save. And you won't see it, but there's a button done here on the bottom and you click that. And that's it. Now your billable expense have been set up. So to create a billable expense, firstly you will have to have an expense. So let's just add an expense for this exercise. You can add an expense via the new and then expense, bill, whatever way you want to do it. I'm going to just click expense and it takes you to the expense screen. I'm not going to fill in a payee. We paid it through our bank account. On today's date, payment method, let's just say direct debit. And then we are going to use this. So this shows you a list of accounts that is from the chart of accounts. And you can select whatever. So today, let's say we did printing and stationery. We paid for some labels and we paid $500 for it. And yes, we want it to be billable. Now, for it to be billable, you have to allocate it to a donor. And we have created donors. We've created the Department of Grant 101, we've created Department Grant 102, and then I have 103 as well. And then underneath that, we have the projects as well. So if you want to do your project costing and your grant funding reporting, then you click into the project and you allocate it to that. So it's going to show funding in advance, Department of Grant 101, Grant 101, and that's it. So we don't need to add a class or anything. I'm just going to add, and we can say, again, you won't see the button. It's at the bottom here. Save and close, and now we have an expense. So to bill this expense, you will have to go to the sales. And in here, if you are under sales, all sales, you can scroll through and you'll see a list of all the invoices you've created before. And also you will see that there is. So we just click into it before we create an invoice. Here you can see it is marked as a billable in the expenses. And it was created on today and we added it to this donor. It was for labels and the amount was $500. We want to allocate it to grant funding income. Here you can change it again if you need to change it to something else. Markup. Markup is set up in the settings menu. And if you are doing grant, well, depending on the agreement you have with your donor, you can, in some cases I've seen that you can put a markup on your expenses. Mostly that won't be the case if you do just normal grants, so you just allocate the expenses to the grant because that's what it's been paid for and you just want to allocate it in that manner, then the markup will be 0. And the markup account, we have to select markup account, just close that. Create an invoice. So create an invoice, everything is already pre-filled. We don't have to do anything. And we can just, well, you can add probably, I don't know, your invoice to this. That'd be actually a good idea to do. And then just save and save. Let's just save that. And your invoice have been created. Let's go out of that. So here you will see it's changed from a billable expense to an invoice. It's no longer a billable expense. So we can go to our projects to see how that is allocated. And we've allocated to Grant 101, if you can remember correctly. So we'll just click into that. And what it's done is it's automatically created that expense to the printing and stationery for $500. And then grant funding income, $500. So it's created the expense and it's created the income. So that's a good way if you want just to allocate the expenses to your grant. It will be a 0 profit because income is 500 and expenses is 500. And that is as far as billable expenses go. If you want to see how to set up the markup on the billable expense, let's see where we can find that. Okay, yeah, I forgot to tell you, I've already done that. Make expense and items billable in the expense tab. Let's just go back. Okay, so settings, account settings, and just make sure that in your expenses that you have billable expenses on. So edit that, make expense and items billable, click it. Okay, so click billable expenses, and then here is where you click on the markup. So then you can change your markup rate by default, and then it will be default that percentage. So yeah, that's it for this video. This is the last video of the not-for-profit organization. Thank you for watching another video. I really appreciate it. Have a nice day.